In the past videos, we learned how the basic workflow of Anima is and works, and we focused on the path simulation element. Now, starting from this video, we will going through the other simulation elements, and we'll be starting, in this case, with the socialization area. By using the area tool, we find here at the bottom of this vertical toolbar. Okay, so this is the area tool, the one that we are going to use. Now, before starting, I want to point out this, I want you to notice this little arrow we have here at the top corner, right corner of these icons, okay? And this is interesting. We left click here, and since all these are area elements, we can choose to draw those area as squares, circles, or polygons. This defines the shape, the starting shape. We will start with the square one. So left click on it. It should be coming by default like this. Okay. Now, as you can see here, here is the square. So now we'll be more or less placing and creating this area around the tree. So left click on this, and the area will be generated. Now, before anything else, I want to have more space here in the viewport. So I will zoom out. Just moving. And as you can see here, there is a bit of the tree covering the background, and also this part overlapping. So now is the right time to use this vertical slicer, or horizontal slicer as I call it, and using one of the bookmarks we've created in a previous video. So the last one, I renamed it to downstairs. Okay, so just by left clicking, everything is fine and a lot more easy to work with. Okay, so as you can see, this is the area. First of all, we have the bounding box, we have the manipulator, but we also have this icon. If we hit escape key to deselect this element, and we try to select it as we did with the path, clicking by left clicking right on top of it, it won't work. Okay, well, it will work like this, but if we create a rectangular selection, but we have to left click on this icon, okay, to access all the options. Now we also see these little cubes. These are the nodes or vertices that defines the shape of the area. Now, we could use them to create the area, to shape it, and we will see how to use them a bit more going on. But what I want to do is just to see the first options on the properties panel. First of all, we have here these buttons, okay? Those on the right, we already know, so I won't explain them. These three are the main ones we will be covering, but not right now. We go down to the area section, and here we have the first option, which is the size. Well, these are meters, and this is actually a radius. Radius of what? Of the circle, of the outer circle passing through the vertices of this square. Okay, so let's say I want to set it to 6 meters. Okay, I'm working in meters, so 6 meters. Okay, hit enter, and that's it. Very useful. Now, we have then the shape. We can choose what kind of shape we want to work with. We have two options: polygon, which is the one we have now, or circle. If I left click on circle, as you can see here, appears that circle, that outer circle, and according to the background model and the situation we are working with, we can choose between these two shapes. Then we set back to polygon, and as you can see here, we have the number of vertices of this polygon shape. Now it's 4, then square, but we could change it, let's say, to 6 again, and get what? An hexagon. Okay? So we could, for example, set to 200 vertices and then going and changing them. I wouldn't suggest you to do that. Too many on one side. And then we will see that we have the possibility to change the shape a bit more user-friendly. Okay, so let's get back to 4, hit enter, and that's it. Now, one thing I want to point out is the placement of the area. As you can see, the area at the moment is overlapping the path, and this is something I want, but it's also overlapping the stairs, and I don't want this. Okay, I don't want characters to be created on the stairs. Something I will explain you how to create, for example, something like a stadium. Okay, with all the grades and so on, but we will cover this in another video. So I will use the manipulator to change the placement of this area. Now I could do this. Why not optimize the space and use the most of it? We have to be careful in this case because we have a wall here, and consider that all the area will be used to place character. So in this case, we could have a character half placed and half penetrating the wall, and this is not something we want. Okay, so always use a bit of margin depending and according to the environment you are using. Okay, but something like this should be fine. What I can do now is, for example, I want the path to overlap the area, but I don't want the area to go outside on the other side of the path. So I just left click on this node or vertex, okay, and just place it here, something like this. Okay, very, very simple. Now left click on the icon of the area to select it, and let's start. First of all, let's see here the options. The first section we have is the crowd, and we already know this. Okay, this is something we already have in the path, but in this case we have no characters. Now I could click on generate and it would choose the characters automatically from the library actors, but this is not what I want. I want to use the same characters I've been using on the path for two reasons. First of all, because I'm using animal light, so I have some restriction, so I want to use exactly the same characters, so I have no dummy character appearing on the area. And on the other side, imagine that you have been creating your personal character, customized new characters. We will see how to do this on the path, on another element, so we can copy that list of actors from the path, left click on the path, and here on empty space, right click, copy list of actors, and then left click again the area, and here again, now this is the all empty space, right click again and paste list of actors. Okay, so this is very, very useful. Remember to save always, Control S, and so on. Actor count, we know what this is the name, the number of actors. So I will set it to, let's say, 15. Okay, and left click on generate. Okay, and that's it. Very, very simple. Now, as you can see, the characters have been placed according what? According the grid of the area. This is an orthogonal grid. I mean, internally, the grid, the vertical and horizontal lines will be always orthogonal. But in this case, the grid is also orthogonal to the background model. Well, this is something we will see can be changed. So, we go to the position shuffle option. Okay? As you can see, all the characters are placed almost exactly in the center of each cell. So this position shuffle percentage let me create an offset to move for each character a bit from the center of the cell. So let's say something like this, 73%. Left click on generate, and as you can see, the characters are no more placed in the center of the cells. Okay, so as you can see also, there are some of the characters of the area being generated on top of the path. Now, they are generated on top of the path because they are on the area, on the part of the area overlapping the path. And this could be a problem, okay? Especially if we increase the actor count. This could be a problem because all the characters passing by on the characters should avoid and would avoid those characters, but if we have too many characters, what happens? Well, we could have issues. Okay, so many or several of the characters of the path could be removed from the simulation, become ghosts, and so on. So how can we change this? How we can correct this? And keep in mind that this solution is not useful just for the area. We can apply it also to the path and other elements. So we could simply select those characters that could probably cause issues. Shift click, left click to multiple select, and then hit delete key. Simply delete them. Okay? Now, if we are okay with these positions, okay, we could set to yes the keep positions and rotation option. We already saw this also for the path. Okay? But in this case, we only have 15 actors. What if we want to fill all the area? Well, we could increase the actor count up to the number we see it fills all the area, or use this option, fill all slots. Well, and it tells me the number 75. So we could set this to yes, and then click on generate again. Now, this is very nice. Okay, this could be very useful. Imagine to have here a scenery with a politician having a meeting, talking, all these people attending to the meeting. Now, this is exactly the situation I was talking about. Here, this would be a big problem. So in this case, we also should try to delete all the actors that could create problems. Consider that we have not always to create a socializing area on top of a path. Okay, this is something just I want to show you to explain you how this works. Okay, and another thing is you probably noticed that my machine has been slowing down. Well, there are a lot of characters. Now, according to your machine or to your computer, to the power or especially your GPU, this number can affect a lot the performances. So be careful when using it. Okay, so left click again the area. I will set back to no this option. Okay, and click generate again. Okay, that's it. Now, let's go to the square properties section. Now, the first options, it's quite clear. We already know this. This is the option that let us assign a specific motion clip. Let's go to the library motion clip. Let's say, for example, run. Well, run, no. I don't think it's a good idea. For example, one of the idle motion clips or a specific category. As you can see here now is assigned the square category. Okay? So what this square does is every time a character has to be animated, we'll choose of each character the square clip. I will select an animated character just to remember you this. As you see here, square clip, standing idle 04. Okay? Its model can be set differently. Okay? Perfect. Now, we go on to the turn around after socializing. Now, this is an option related not to the characters generated on top of the area, but to those that come from, in this case, the path. Those characters that have their socializing option set to yes will leave the path, enter the area, and will spend a little time there. Now, this time is specified by the socialize timer. These are seconds. So each character entering the area will spend 15 seconds at the moment, and then will leave the area going back to, in this case, the path. Now, let's say that we have a narrow space in the area. We are going to create one. So we see a different tool. Let's say that we want to extend this area in this part. Okay, creating a little tail here. So how we do this? So we go to the properties panel, and at the top left we have this button here. Left click on it, and we will start to entering editing mode. In this case, we can add vertices. So we'll just left click, and something like this. Left click. Okay, and to close. To end this mode, right click. Now what I do is just to select this element here, this node, this vertex, this little cube, and move it like here. So we have this little tail. Now we can do also is just to delete this cube. We don't need it anymore. Left click on it and hit delete key. That's it. Now, in this case, we could have some problems. Imagine that we have here a couple, 2, 3 actors, and one of the actors coming here to go back to the path could have a bit of a problem. Okay, so what we can do with the turnaround after socializing set to yes is to force the character to turn around and go to the path. It's a sort of help we set for that character. Okay, sometimes it's quite useful. And then we have the main option, the main set of options for the grid, which is in this case the first one, enable placement grid, and it is set to yes. So the grid is used to place the characters. We already saw this. So what we can do more on the grid? Well, first of all, we can rotate the grid, and this is very, very interesting, because if I set a different rotation angle, okay, the grid changes. And this is quite nice and interesting because, for example, in this case, we have the area orthogonal, more or less, to this wall, this stair. So it seems that all the characters are placed according to those directions. So what we can do now is just to generate. Okay. Well, I will click generate again to have some. Okay, something like this. Okay. So these are not so wall aligned. This is the reason. Then we have the cell size. As you can see now, the cells are squares. Okay, so the cell size is the side size of that square. In this case, 1 meter. Now this is very important because if we change this value, let's say to 2 meters, okay, the squares are a lot bigger, then the number of cells decreases. So what it does is this. When we go up to the fill all slots option, we see that instead of 75, we have 18. This is important, okay? Because, for example, if we set the cells to 50 centimeters, half a meter, okay, now we get 300 characters. Now, be very careful with this. First of all, because visualizing all this could almost surely kill performances according to your GPU, your computer, and so on. Okay, but probably we would have a lot of problems with models overlapping. Okay, so we don't want this. So I will set it back to 1 meter, which is, well, quite fine. And then we go to the cell size ratio. So this is a ratio that let us create cells that are not square, rectangular squares. So for example, I set it to 2 meters. Well, so we have 2 meters by 1, or 0.75. Okay, so this is what we can do. So in this way we can add more variations. Okay, I will set it back to 1. And then we go to the focus mode. Focus mode is very, very interesting. Okay, the focus mode is actually the mode the characters are using to set the direction where they are looking toward. Okay, as you can see, all the characters are looking at the wall. So here we have 3 options. The first one is focus, and this is the result. Then we have grid. So in this case, all the characters will be facing according to the grid direction, and the grid direction is explained, is shown by these arrows. Okay, I don't really like the first option and this option 2. The third option, which is I feel the one should be by default set, is the random option. So now this is totally random, a lot better. But The point is, in this case, it's random, so we cannot control it. Well, what we could do, for example, this character here, we could change it to convert it to manual and then orient it. Yes, we could do this. But if we go back to the focus mode, we will get a different option. Okay? First of all, if we set focus mode, we go back, you will see that these two buttons appears. Since the focus mode is the one by default set here, we already had these. But by changing this to grid, for example, these buttons disappear. Okay, so let's go back to focus mode, focus in this case, because in this case we can create focus points. So this is the button that let us, by left clicking on it, enter the focus point creation mode. Okay, so here we have a 3D cursor. We can create these focus points inside the area or outside. So for example, left click here, and as you can see, all the characters will be facing that point. So we can control quite easily where the character are facing to in this case. But what if I create a different point, let's say here outside? Well, according to the distance of each character to the points, the character will face a certain point or another. Okay, so I will create, for example, these here. So this is very, very useful. With a right click, we can exit this creation mode. Okay, and now what we can do is just select this point and change, for example, the position. So all the characters will change their direction. This is very, very useful. Now, if we set, for example, this option here, we have focus points. We are in focus mode set to focus, but the option enable placement grid, we set it to no. See what happens. These circular areas around the focus points appears. Now, if I left click on generate, look what happens. The characters are generated around those points. This is very, very useful, okay? Because let us control exactly where we want this character to be placed. For example, avoiding them to being here in the part overlapping the path. Okay, so let's generate again. Let's go for example, a bit more characters here. Okay, let's try 25. Okay, generate. That's it. Okay, perhaps this character here, I would delete it again. Okay, and this character here also. That's it. Now, I will delete also this one here, and I will explain you why. So, these are the focus points. They are very, very powerful. And in general, as you can see, the area tool, the area socializing area element, it's very flexible. Now, let's save here this, and we will do one thing. We will hit spacebar and finally see what happens when characters come from the path and go here. Okay, but before this, I will activate the enable placement grid again. Click generate. Okay, I will delete this, and that's it. You see here in this tail there are a lot of characters, so this could be a problem, and sometime with that option set, the turnaround after socializing can be very useful. So let's hit spacebar and let's see if there are some of the characters entering. As you can see here, they are. Now, what's the problem of this? I will pause this. Well, the problem is that they just stopped right on top of the area. And this could be a problem because they are exactly on top of the path too. So this could be a problem for those characters on the path that are not socializing, they are passing by and they want to pass through. So what we can do is just to set here the area. First of all, again, disabling the placement grid because these characters are being placed according to the grid of the area. Okay, So this way, what would happen? Well, would happen that these characters would enter the area and go into these circular areas. So we can control them a bit more. But the last options we have to see is the social actor placement mode. And this is exactly what I'm needing, because this is an option related to those characters leaving the path and entering the area. So at the moment that is set to closest. So they enter the area and they choose the first free point. Okay, so when we have the grid here, they choose the first free grid point. Okay, but if we set it to furthest, they go further. Okay, so this avoids accumulation of characters on top, in this case, of the area where the path is overlapping. Okay, so as you can see, as I already told you, the area tool is very, very flexible, and as you can see, we are starting to having a situation a bit more interesting. Okay, so in the next video, we'll be covering how to avoid exactly this. As you can see, this character is placed exactly where is the tree compenetrating. So we want to avoid this. So we will be talking about avoiding areas. See you soon.